I believe that everyone has at least one great story that only they can tell. My best story is dedicated to discovering these tales and releasing them into the wild, one guest at a time. I'm Travis Tidmore. Join me as I discover Mike Phirman's best story. Mike, thanks for joining us. How are you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing good.
Getting fitted.
Perfect. Mike, what is your backstory?
My backstory is I am originally from San Luis Obispo, California, and I came down to Los Angeles to do entertainment, and I've done stand-up, and I did visual effects for a little while, and then a friend of mine pointed out that I was not enjoying myself during visual effects years, even though I love visual effects and I love doing them. But and then I was like, you know what? He was like, you got to commit to doing comedy music. So I committed to doing comedy music, and I've been doing comedy music since. And I've done some adult stuff, not X-ray. Well, actually, there probably is some X-ray stuff. I did in my younger years. I was in a duo with Chris Hardwick, and we were called because of Hardwick and Phirman. We were Hard and Firm, and some of that stuff was very nerdy, and some of it was very adult. But after that, I've been doing comedy music, and with having two kids, I have been leaning into doing kid-friendly, not required, but more or less like, kids in mind comedy music. And that's where I'm at.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, what is your best story?
My best story? Well, I'm originally from San Luis Obispo, and I came down to Los Angeles. No. My best story, let's see, I was trying to think of I almost told you my story about being in my dental problems and how I got a root canal and it turned out it was the wrong one. And then they did the other one. And then it turned out it wasn't that one, it was the first one. But that's a depressing story and I have no good ending. So I was thinking one story that I always like to relive is the time that in high school, some buddies and I basically had a toilet papering war and got really, really good at toilet papering. And the basics of it are this. So there I was. I don't usually tell stories, by the way. I'm like a one-liner or like silly song guy, so I don't usually have like, wait, I've got a story, but we'll make do. So in high school, there was a good friend of mine. It was a very friendly high school. This was not actual rough fighting in this.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine was getting her car TP'd during, she played soccer, and while she would be at soccer, somebody was wrapping her car up and just mummifying her car. So she mentions to me like, hey, listen, I'm having this problem and I cannot figure out who it is. This is before cell phones, so you couldn't just like, oh, I'll just leave my phone recording and I'll be able to see their faces, or a dash cam or something like that. You would have to pay somebody to sit in your car, maybe named Cam. That name was around. But she says, hey, is there any way you can find out? And I say, I'm on the case because I like sleuthing. And I am familiar with toilet papering because as a kid, I did a lot of toilet papering. I would sneak out. I still am not clear if my dad knows this, but my window I was in a bunk bed and the upper bunk was level with the ground. Like it was sunken down in. And so mine, you open the window and you're just on the floor and you're on the ground. So I would go out all the time and skateboard and eat donuts and toilet paper, having only been caught by the police one time, which was a cop came by and we all like run and jumped into bushes or whatever, and a cop found me in the bushes and was like, yeah, come here. And and I was like, yeah, we were just going to get donuts and skateboard and, whatever. He's like, not going toilet papering, huh? And he looks inside a backpack, and luckily we just finished, so there's no more toilet paper. So he's like, all right, well, go home. Come on, what are you doing? Go home. So I take the case, and I find out that it's a friend of mine, my buddy Brian, and my friend Sam, and my friend James, and my friend Harlan, and these guys who decided to just, prank her and do that. So I tell them, hey guys, you got to stop, or I will be forced to exact, I will avenge her. And they say, oh, no, you don't. You are bringing on a war if you do that. And I said, oh, this sounds great. Yes, let's war. So we, and there were a series of like poems that were left on her, like they would write some weird cryptic poem and leave it on her windshield. So we declared, I think I wrote a poem at some point, but anyway, we wrote like a declaration of war. And the rules were that you can, I think it was like no eggs. I think it's like no, like don't do anything that's I'm not gonna like take the paint off your house or anything, But the idea was that you basically get the other people, the other team, to sign a treaty that says you're out, and whoever wins wins. So it was me and my friend Nathaniel, who's my oldest friend and who lived with me at the time. He got the boot from his house. My mom was nice enough to say, here, live with us. So he and I were one team. And then there were, I think, 11 guys on the other team. And Nathaniel and I were like, we're small, but we're good. We've been doing this for a while, and I know this town. So we launched a war. And then we had like plans like, all right, we park far away from school. And then my mom would let us have the garage. So we would like, when I'd come home, the car would drive up, garage door open, garage door closed. No one touched my car ever. We parked far away, so no one ever knew where we were parked. I would hike down to school. And then we booby trapped the house. That was the key. Nice. That one cool key thing was to booby trap the house, in that we would have, I have a, let me see, yeah, synthesizer here, and I've always had some form of synthesizer sampler thing. And so I got a sample of the big organ music from Phantom of the Opera, the big dun, 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 right? Awesome. And tied a bunch of fishing wire to like trees and bushes that all ran down to little teacup hooks and went across the lawn up to below my window, up the thing, in through the window, down to the floor, up here, and taped onto that. So if somebody put any pressure on one of those strings, that key would go down and go bang, dun, 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 dun. And if you've gone toilet papering, any sound at all at night, you're like, you could be walking by, somebody's walking by, you'd freak out if you step on a twig, like, so that would, yep. It happened, I think, one time, and that was it, and they were out. And then, so that was the defense. We also, it also, well, I'll get to that in a second. I'm trying to keep an eye on the time so I don't go, because I can really, really, really go on this one.
Oh, you're good.
So we would do that. And then we'd also, at night, I don't know how we were able to do this. My mom was very relaxed. So I wasn't sneaking out. Like my mom was like, all right, you're winning this, like on board. And my brothers were awesome. On board, sister was on board. And I think I had a stepdad at the time. Anyway, but it was all, everybody was on board. And so Nathaniel and I would go drive off, and we would hit like 3 of their houses each night. Every night we would go like just mummify 3 houses, go back, and then what was it? At one point, I think we split up and did 2 at once. So they were like, "What? How did that? You guys are only one team." And we got into, at some point, water balloons became a part of it. And so my mom would, like, while she's in the kitchen or whatever, be on the lookout, and she would see one of their cars coming, and she would say, "Yellow good. So we would know a yellow VW is them. So we would all go man our stations, and there were buckets of water balloons. So we'd run out and just start like volleys of water balloons. We're going back and forth. And
That's
one of them,
awesome.
I think my sister slipped or my mom slipped or whatever. But like, anyway, everybody was into it. And so at one point, we started to get them dropping out. Like they started to actually, like their parents were like, I'm sick of this. You got to stop doing this. It's during the weeknights. Like we just wouldn't give up. Like we were relentless. And so we would get like, 3 or 4 a night. Eventually guys would be like, I'm out, dude. My parents hate you. Yeah, we're out. And then we got not cocky, but we like, hey, it'll be fun. Let's split up. You do one dude's house. I'll do the other dude's house. And we're also, I think it was in the daytime. It was in like the middle of the day. But we knew one guy's going to be out of the house. And so we're going to do it during the day. And then another guy, I was going to go and just pelt his house with water balloons. And we also had a Palmolive, like we would use Palmolive balloons, even though they're, but it's not, because it's not egg. It'll wash off. Yeah. That's what it's meant to do. But so we synchronize it. Right? Exactly 2 o'clock, we're going to like hit it, So he goes and does that one. And we both like start lobbying water balloons in, get in the car, book it home. We're like, ah, ha, 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 ha. And my buddy, James, who was the house that I lobbed water balloons at, knocks on the door. And I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? Because again, we're all still friendly. But he says, what? I say, what's up? And he goes, dude, I'm out. Like, definitely out. And 2, you need to not go outside for quite a while because my dad is going to kill you. I was like, wait, why? Why is that such a big? He's like, dude, when you were throwing water balloons in, we have an atrium. Like they have this like little walk-in area that's like, you're not in the house yet. And then, so I thought, oh, that's like the Death Star. I'm going to chuck them into there and they'll just hear them like, oh, what's going on? And apparently they were having their carpets cleaned or something. And they'd moved all their furniture. You couldn't see it from the street, but they moved all their furniture into that little area. So all of a sudden I'm chucking like tons of water balloons and the kid's like, what? And I hit his mom in the face with a Palmolive balloon, which is not cool at all, but I didn't know. And the little brother like saw this happening, was like, what's happening? And the mom's like, ah! And so he's out. And then, yeah, one by one, we just ended up winning. Like we got them all out. They couldn't get us because we were like on alert and would not sleep and had friends of friends living with us that would watch out. And what was it? Let me think. Oh yeah. So after that was done, we had learned so much and gotten really good at toilet paper. I mean, we were already okay, but now we're like on our game. So we started a business where we would go toilet paper for you. If you couldn't get out of the house and you wanted to TP somebody, we will now do it for you. And we called ourselves Aces Wild. We were professional exterior late night decorators. That was our actual business.
That's fantastic.
And I happened to have, we would never say who we were, but that was our act. This is the business card that we would leave, which is while you're napping, we're rapping. There it is.
That's awesome.
And we did, I think we did like the chief of police. Like we would just do like, we were stupid. Like we would do the chief of police. We did like the fire marshal. We did like, I don't think we did the principal. I don't know why, but, and then, but yeah, we picked up a hitchhiker one time and again, in the middle of the night, like 1 a.m. And he was like, who are you guys? Cause we're always like dressed in all black. And we're like, oh, we're professional toilet paperers. And he was like, wait, do you guys Aces Wild? We're like, we made it! People, and there's no internet. This was before the internet. So we're like, we're a thing. So, yeah. And then really awesome. I gotta say one thing, that my favorite part of it is that there was we always bought our stuff from one market, this one supermarket down the street. And every single time that we bought it. By the way, I'm going to say a swear. So if any kids are listening or anything, earmuffs. That every time we bought toilet paper, it was the exact same place. We were all dressed in black. We're standing there buying like 4 or 5 bags of toilet paper, and the same dude checked us out all the time. The same guy always went, rang us up, take the money, receipt, and every single time said, "Have a nice shit."
That's fantastic.
Which I enjoy very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do kids steal toilet paper?
I haven't seen it in a long time. I've never personally been. I was gonna knock on wood, and I kind of feel like that's not the worst thing.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I haven't seen a good toilet papering in a long time.
Yeah,
and I kind of feel like my sons should bring it back. Like I kind of feel like they're the heirs of a database that I want to pass on to them of like, here's, you don't throw like this, you got to put your hand under the thing, and it's all about the flip as it goes so it unravels, and so much we could do.
We didn't really sneak out. We would spend the night at each other's houses, but we would always camp out in the tent in the backyard so that we could just go wherever we wanted to.
Yeah, just take off.
And I remember one night we went, we lived in like a cul-de-sac, but there was like, and this rich guy had a house that took up like his house and backyard were the length of the whole block. And so you could go through the cul-de-sac, there was his fence, but then there was this little bitty like narrow alleyway that went behind his fence that went to a completely different neighborhood. So we went over there and toilet papered a friend's house, and we were coming back, and the guy on the end of the cul-de-sac, as we were coming out of the alley back into the cul-de-sac, his house had been toilet papered, and it was the greatest toilet paper I've ever seen because they took all the toilet paper from like 3 trees and tied it into a bow. Still don't know how they did that.
That's good.
But we're walking by, we have like 6 rolls of toilet paper, and this guy comes out of his front yard with a gun in his hand.
Oh my God.
My friend shoves the toilet paper we had like up his shirt, like sucks in, and is just standing there not moving, and the guy's like, "Did you do this?" And we're like, "No, we just happened to walk by and see it." And I guess they had thrown like water balloons on top of his roof to like as they left to get them to come out. And we just timed it perfectly that he came out right as we were walking by, and like I don't know how he didn't see all the toilet paper we had, but he believed us. He let us go. The kids who had done it, we found out at school on Monday. They had toilet papered the wrong house. They had got the wrong quarter. So they were trying to toilet paper a friend. Instead, they toilet papered this old white dude who was not happy and came out with his gun. It was pretty awesome.
Toilet papered Clint Eastwood from, what's that movie where he's on his porch all the time?
Gran Turismo?
Yeah.
Turismo? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I wonder if we would have got caught while on the job, because if you did it, you'd just be like, "Sorry, I'm an idiot, and I'm going to clean it off. And you can shoot me, but you can I'll work for you and clean your, rake your lawn or whatever." But I wonder if it was something like our thing where if it was a business, we could be like, "Hey, listen, the person you want to talk to is the person who hired us. We are just contractors. This is not I'm just doing my job. Just doing my job, man."
I'm going to remember that, so when my kid's old enough to start toilet papering, I'm going to be like, if anyone ever asks you, just be like, "Oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. He hired me for the job."
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It's perfect.
And actually, that was our line, too, because I didn't want to lie. If anybody asked, if they would say, like, "Hey, are you guys Ice is Wild? Are you the ones who did it?" And I'd just be like, "People keep asking me that." And that was all I would say. So I don't know how. It seems like one of those things, if anybody understood like any kind of argumentation, they'd be like, "Yeah, you didn't say no, so you're probably it." But everybody just be like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I guess." So
that's really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Mike, where can people find you these days?
All right. I guess I'm at 832 Glen Oaks Boulevard. I have 2 trees that are pretty good for toilet papering. No. I can be found. You could actually go to chickenmonkeyduck.com. That's like the easy way to remember it. But there's, because it's MikePhirman.com, but my last name is spelled in a way that no one's ever. I should have changed my name. Is what I'm saying. I should have had a stage name. I should have gone with like Mike, whatever, Mike Rock, or nope. It's just MikePhirman.com or chickenmonkeyduck.com, and you can get my record, Songs to Sing at Children.
Very nice.
Yeah.
We'll have to check that out. Well, Mike, thanks so much for being on the show. It was a blast. It was a great story. And
thanks, Travis.
I'd love to have you back sometime.
I'd love to come back.
For maybe a story that's not dental related.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, well, I'll think of something else good that's happened.
Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good one.
You too.
Special thanks to Mike for dropping by and telling us that story today. As always, new episodes drop every Tuesday and Thursday right here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Our title music is Red, White, Black, and Blue by Peg and the Rejected. If you have a story you'd like to tell, hit us up on our Facebook page, over on Twitter at My Best Story Show, or via email at mybeststorypodcast@gmail.com. Until next time, go live your best story.